Obedience creates a more violent world. Whilst many people take pride in demonstrating what they refer to as compassion, it is in reality nothing more than a permission compassion, under the guise of virtue signalling and people-pleasing that the terrible war in Ukraine has demonstrated. Blue and yellow flags are flown outside of villages and households, and collections have been raised to show support. The government are even offering money to house Ukrainian refugees for £350 per month. Whilst on the surface this isn't itself a bad thing and will help those in dire need, it also demonstrates how easy it is to demonstrate compassion in the presence of groupthink, comfort and security driven by the government. This security has arisen from a government encouragement and political agenda that is a form of permission and compliance. Ukrainians are considered war refugees, and the people from Yemen, Syria, Iraq are considered migrants. The government's encouraged focus on Ukraine places their own motives and previous destruction of other countries into the background. After all, those who reveal the West's own war crimes are themselves incarcerated, as in the case of Julian Assange, a journalist that's been imprisoned for revealing these very crimes to their own people. People have changed their Facebook profile picture to the colours of the Ukraine flag, just as they did in their need to show their vaccination status, encouraged by Facebook. It's an opportunity for obedience, for virtue signalling, to agree and unquestionably adhere to a fixed narrative. What we engage and support this way is people-pleasing, the need to be accepted and follow without personal risk. Why am I saying this as a personal development coach? Because we are still mindlessly being led through lies, manipulation, fear, guilt, shame, and most of all, the opportunity for virtue signalling. Permission compassion is not really compassion at all. It's an ideology delivered by those in power. We are unknowingly perpetuating more violence by separating ourselves and others into categories of relevance, whilst remaining ignorant to our own country's behaviour. This separation we see in the world is nothing more than a separation we live within ourselves. Every structure of authority and control in our society is being supported on some level by the individual minds of the people in that society. What we point at, condemn and hate, we often live within ourselves. Remember, we are society. We cannot talk about society without including each one of us within it. We need as responsible individuals to demand more from ourselves, not place people into categories of importance, and most importantly, to see things as they really are, before we act upon the advice of those infected with self-interest. This will include the hypocritical destructive acts of other countries, including our own, and how this is supported by us as individuals. This will disconnect us from the destructive structures of authority and wars around us that we have in some way put there ourselves through our own desires for security, safety and obedience. We will not change the world by aligning ourselves with the greed of those in power. We must raise ourselves above their behaviour in thought and action, and in doing so, encourage them to raise their own standards in line with the majority of a society that no longer functions within fear and conformity. This is the only revolution that will ever work. It frees us from reaction to one of non-reaction. If nothing sticks, authorities and their fears and lies lose their power. What they really fear is a psychological blanket of silence as they shout for support and obedience from those that have moved beyond the familiar chorus of lies and fear. For those with the courage to see, the world is but a reflection of our own making.